Hola, hola. We want to
Hola.
welcome everybody to PAK Talks. My name is Jazmin.
Bienvenidos a todos. My name is Anabel with PAK Home Realty here in Illinois.
And we're going to dive into a great conversation
Definitely.
about motherhood and real estate.
Mom, work, life balance.
Yes.
I just stretch your
If you
mouth.
do that while giving birth to it helps.
Oh, stretch your mouth?
Like releasing tension in your jaw.
Really?
Yeah, like that helps.
I thought opening the mouth. I'm like,
And breathing.
Okay.
Yeah, like literally breathing, dropping your shoulders and like doing deep grunts.
Yes, and the breath work.
Yeah.
And just keeping calm. Well, kind of like what we said, that you just need to just go with the flow.
Mindset.
Your mindset is everything. Like if you're
Yes.
going into it thinking, I'm not going to get enough epidural, I'm not going to get enough epidural, no matter, the pain. So
Right.
that's the plan so far.
I love that. And mindset is everything, with everything in life, but especially giving birth.
Yes.
I love how we just went into that already.
Yeah.
I'm like, let me say.
I know, and like what you were saying, right? Start with your mindset. You might have a mindset, you might have your plan, and just okay, but things change, and I'm open to that,
Right.
because, like I said, you might have plans, but God has other plans.
Exactly.
But I think the main points and how you want to go into giving birth should be aligned with what you want, right, for the baby.
Exactly. Right. And like sticking to that, because manifestation is real and mindset is everything, but also God's purpose is greater for us. And with that, just trusting and fully surrendering and adapting to whatever change, and whether it's good or bad, is we're going to hear about my story, just still trusting that that was God's plan for you, even if
Exactly.
it does not make sense.
And it's not
in
what you
that
wanted.
moment. Exactly. But okay, yeah. So as you know, I've been in real estate for 10 years now.
Wow.
So pushing a
Amazing.
decade. That makes me feel old.
But you're not.
And I've kind of always been like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I was
Okay.
previously in the medical field and the
Okay.
business admin side of things. And I've always loved real estate. But I was always kind of like seeking that stability of a paycheck every 2 weeks.
Of course.
While trying to build my business on the side. And I was treating real estate as a side hustle. And I very quickly realized that's not
How
a
it's
thing
gonna work.
or how it's
Exactly.
going to work for me, because I was trying to juggle this and that and kind of spreading my energy in different places. And when I joined PAK, like that's when I was like, I'm giving this my 100%. All my eggs are going to go in this basket, because that was just kind of where I wanted to be for my 30th birthday.
Okay.
And kind of like we were talking about before, being a mother in the future.
So when did you start full-time as a real estate agent?
I started full-time last February.
Okay.
Officially.
And
Yes.
then you joined PAK
Exactly, in February.
the same. So it all happened. So
Literally,
you took all that
yes,
and just,
so-
I'm going to go full throttle.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
And it's crazy, because even you asking me that right now, I'm like, wow, I did not go full-time until last year when I joined PAK.
Wow. So it's been like a year and
Yeah.
a month. Okay.
So even though like I've been in real estate for almost a decade, or I've had my license for that long, it's never been full throttle.
Okay.
And I was kind of lost. This time last year in February, I was like, what do I want to do in life? Do I want to go back into the work field? Do I want to just go all in real estate, take the risk? And then what brokerage do I want to join? I was kind
Got
of
it.
bouncing around.
Okay.
And, that's when Noah and I connected.
That's
and
awesome.
he told me about PAK, and we are professional, accountable, knowledgeable realtors, and that right there sold me.
Yeah.
But when I
Of
learned
course.
more about the brokerage, like what they offer, we have PAK University. We emphasize
There's so many tools that they
Yes,
offer. Mhm.
Yes, like the power of coaching.
Yes.
Is so strong, and that's what I had been seeking for about 10 years, and never really found it. Like I was with App Properties, nothing bad with that, but I felt like I was just one of the thousands of agents.
Yeah.
I always wanted a tight-knit environment with a community of like-minded people.
Exactly.
And when I heard about PAK, I was like, wow, this aligns with my core values, my dreams, and building the real estate business of my dreams. And everyone is just so amazing here. Like we are very we work great together. Like it's community and damn, where's that going? Let me pause.
That's okay. Mom, pregnancy brain.
Oh my God, pregnancy
Well, that's
brain.
good. So you
real.
did good.
Yes, yeah, thank you. So girl, you're amazing.
You did really good.
But yes, so I was talking about joining PAK Realty.
And because because you said, that you were at properties and you felt like that was a lot of,
Right.
it was really big. So this is big, but in a sense of the tools, right? We have PAK University, we have coaching. There's so many tools that we can use,
Right.
but yet with the feeling of a family atmosphere.
Exactly.
So I can go to you, you can come to me. We keep in touch. It's like that vibe.
We help each other out. There's no ego.
There's no ego.
We help each other out. We're thriving. We're succeeding. And even being a first-time mom now, like the tools we have with PAK University or speaking to our mentors, like there's just so many tools where if you need a refresher, you know you have that available. We have trainings every week, which is something I never really did before or had. And
Same.
I remember giving birth and like I hopped on a few weeks after, like feeding,
and it's just
baby.
Convenient, right?
Exactly.
You could be with your baby,
Yes.
but also not miss a Zoom call.
Exactly.
Or a coaching call or whatnot.
Right, yep. And if you need help, like someone is always available.
There. Yes.
So how long have you been in real estate for?
So I've been in real estate for about 5 years. I started off as an assistant / transaction coordinator.
Nice.
So I did that for a couple years. And again, it was a smaller brokerage. Then I just decided to jump into real estate.
Nice.
The reason I did is because I knew down the line I wanted to start family and have children, and I didn't want a 9-to-5. Where it's like, hey, can I have this day off?
Right.
Hey, I'm going to go on vacation. So I just didn't want that. I wanted the flexibility. So what else? What a better career choice, right? To go into real estate where you can make your own schedule. You can schedule your showings around what's going on in your life.
Right.
Basically schedule anything you want, right? So
100%.
And then I went full time, I think a couple of years. Well, so I've been in real estate for 5 years, and then I decided to get my license like 3 years into it. So that was fun, I'm like, let's just see where I can take it next, the next level, not just be an assistant or a transaction coordinator.
Yeah.
And I joined PAK May of last year, so it's coming up on a year.
Ooh.
So I haven't even been here a year, but again, the reason I joined is a no-brainer. I kind of like the family atmosphere, but also with the tools that I was looking for.
Right.
As you mentioned, my previous brokerage, we didn't have any of that, which is, if some agents don't need it, but just having that motivation of the people, like-minded people that want the same thing you do,
100%.
just motivates you.
Yeah.
To do better and be better and be a better person. It's inspiring.
It's so inspiring.
And you love to see that. So yeah, not even a year, but I love it. And now we're going into the next chapter of our lives, as we talked about. Well, you, Jazmin, you just gave birth in December.
I did, yes. So I am officially
so exciting.
Almost 3 months postpartum.
Well, congrats to you. You look great. I
Girl,
told
so
you.
do you. Toda panza.
I know, all belly, but yeah, that's amazing, Jazmin. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
Honestly.
I'm so happy for you too. And we're kind of gonna go into my birth story and kind of talk about like what you mentioned before. You have a plan, but sometimes that can change very quick, which is very similar to real estate.
Exactly. You have to adjust, right?
Yes.
You have to adjust.
We're made for that. So that's why, we're amazing mothers, and congratulations to you as well. But that kind of happened, I'll kind of go into it now. Like my original birth plan, I was going to give birth at a birth center. It's basically a hybrid of an at-home birth with medical staff around, kind of monitoring, helping you out. And everything was good. I believe I was like 41 weeks. I went over a week.
Was this always your plan from the get-go, when you guys found out, when you and Matt found out you were having a child, was that the original plan, birth plan?
Yes.
Okay.
So 100% from the beginning, like My sister did an at-home birth, but I'm like,
okay.
I'm not ready for that because it's a first-time baby. So I kind of wanted that intervention, but I didn't really want to be in a hospital setting. I wanted more intimacy.
Completely understand.
So we did it at a birth center and kind of created my plan. I've always been very like, this is the plan. I'm sticking to it. Like I kind of always struggled with surrendering control.
Got it.
So I feel like this experience really helped me release that and understand that life is just changes and adapt.
And you have to adapt, especially when giving birth, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I went over my due date. I was literally getting my nails done.
Wow.
Because
of course.
Yes, we have to be fresh.
Always.
And, always. And there's also, benefits to that. So if you release oxytocin, it helps you to have a smoother labor and delivery.
And I had no idea.
Yes.
No
so
idea.
like eating, chocolate or the love hormone basically helps you release oxytocin, and if you're relaxing, it can give you contractions and doing things you like.
Well, it just relaxes your body.
It relaxes you, yes.
And you said you were 41 weeks.
I was 41 weeks, yes. So went into the nail salon and I started contracting. Like, I thought it was false contractions, so I was kind of ignoring it because they always say ignore them until you can't.
Yes.
And then as I'm like getting them done, it's like as I'm getting them done, literally I start getting contractions every 15 minutes, and then it was every 10 minutes, and I'm like, okay.
So are you still getting your nails done at this point?
Yeah.
Oh
I'm
my
like
God,
breathing
Jazmin.
through it. I'm like, I was about to tap out.
I was like, I would be like, I need to go.
No, I was like, he was almost done, but I was
Okay.
like, damn, should I stay? So I was like, all right, I almost tapped out, but I didn't because I'm like, this one needs to get finished.
Okay.
So finished that up, ran home, literally, like Matt was on the computer. And I'm like, I'm going into labor. I have been contracting every 10 minutes.
Matt was probably like, oh my God, really?
He was in shock. He immediately started just cleaning everything for no reason, like nesting. And he just started cleaning everything.
That's so funny.
Yes. And he literally...
You're probably like, Matt, that's not necessary right now.
Exactly. So I still, try to rest, like get some food in, because they say to still like do early labor at home.
Got it.
And then, when it's
Yes, I've read that it says wait as long as possible before going into a birthing center or even the hospital.
Yeah,
right?
because you can interrupt your own labor.
Okay.
So like the travel part, like the excitement, it kind of can prolong your labor a little bit.
Okay, good to know.
Yes,
taking notes.
Exactly. So, we kind of were waiting it out, and they started getting really intense.
Okay.
Like, I would say like 3 hours later. So, we call the birth center because we're supposed to call them, and they help you with laboring at home and then transitioning over.
Got it.
And, she was kind of like, I'm the type of person to always laugh and joke around. Like, if you know me, I've been that way my whole life. Like, I was always like, ah. And, I called her. I was like, oh, it's real. Like, I'm contracting. I made a little joke. And she kind of was like, oh, call back, when it's serious, basically.
Because you were you weren't
because
panicked.
I was laughing. Yeah. Exactly. Like, I wasn't yelling. I wasn't, like, disgruntled. And in my head, I'm like, girl, this is serious. But in that moment, I kind of, like, felt like a bad vibe. Like, she was kind of, like, bothered or not taking me seriously. So that kind of affected me. But since we said everything is mindset, I was still trying to remain positive and just keep on, like, nurturing myself.
Just keep doing your moving forward. Like, let's not let the negativity get in your brain.
Right, yeah. So I'm like, just let that slide off. And they got more serious, more intense. It literally felt like my back was breaking. I was on the floor, like, grabbing a towel. And I had on also, it's called Christian hypnobirthing.
Okay.
But it's positive affirmations with scripture in the background, Bible
That sounds
verses.
Perfect and relaxing.
Yes, exactly.
And that's what you need, I'm sure, in a moment like that.
Like, I took a bath, like, I was doing all the things, and then it got really intense, and we were kind of timing our contractions. So now they were every 3 to 5 minutes. And they say when it's every 3 to 5 minutes, that's when you go to the hospital, because you could give
3 to
birth.
5 minutes.
Yeah, every 3 to 5 minutes. And we called again, and it was now later in the day. So, she was on call, and she was kind of rubbed the wrong way still. Like, she was kind of on the phone, kind of waiting to hear me yell, but I'm not that type of person.
Exactly. You're very calm, Jazmin. You're very just
Exactly.
even keel.
Yes. And we have high tolerance for pain. So I was kind of like, okay, everything's good. I was just breathing, and she was like, okay, you guys can come over in like an hour. I'll meet you guys there. So we packed everything. I couldn't even walk to the car. Like, I had to stop every like 2 minutes because I was literally like, in so much pain. Birth pain is no joke.
Oh, looking forward to it.
Like, not to scare you. I still want you to be excited, but it's very real. So I was just kind of like trying to brainwash myself. Like, everything's okay. We're on our way there, and we live like 40 minutes away.
Okay, from the birthing center?
From the birthing center, yeah. So we were kind of still like trying to keep it together, and we got there. It's now like 1 a.m, and it was that same, midwife.
Oh, Jesus.
Yes, like we come in there, and I didn't get any cervical exams because I read and heard from previous moms to not do them because you can be prone to infections.
Yes, that's what I've read.
Yes, like any scary thing like that. So I didn't really do that, and they didn't recommend it either. But when we got there, she wanted to do a cervical exam to kind of see where I was. And, she did that, and we asked, what's going on. She told me I was like 5 centimeters dilated.
Okay,
And
so halfway there.
Exactly, halfway there. And we're like, she's like, okay, you're 5 centimeters dilated. And we're like, what does that mean? Can you explain more to us? Like, we're first-time parents.
Exactly.
So
you
we
have
need a step by
questions.
step.
You're not asking to be ignorant. You're asking because it's your first time.
Exactly. And like to feel that support. And
Yeah.
she literally was just like, oh, you're exactly where I thought you would be. We still have a long way to go. And I was like, in that moment, I'm huge on energy. Like, my heart just dropped. And I was like,
I can't imagine.
Wow. Like,
Okay.
I don't feel safe. It feels cold. Like, it was just me and my partner in that moment. And then I just kind of brushed it off, went to the bathroom. I'm laboring. And he's like, babe, I really don't like how she spoke to us.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm glad you brought it up. I kind of let it out.
Well,
But
good.
then he was like, trying to ground me because you go through a lot in that phase.
I'm sure.
And he's like, let's just keep on, be positive, like, don't let it get to you. I really tried for it to not get to me, but it was getting to me.
Of course, you can't control that.
Exactly.
You can to a point,
Right.
but when it's something, you're giving birth. It's not
Yeah.
like you're ordering some food at a fast
And
food
they messed up your order.
Exactly, or though she's being rude,
Right.
It's you're having
Yeah.
a child. It's
Exactly.
like you're excited for this, but then the negativity of her and just the rudeness,
Yes.
kind of set the tone.
Exactly. And like we were kind of talking about earlier, like from beginning to end, it all matters. It's all so important and affects the mom. Like we're literally in the most vulnerable time in our life when you're about to give birth to a baby. And I was just like, wow, like, no me siento bien, I feel weird. And she was kind of monitoring us, but
Okay.
it honestly felt like it was just me and Matt doing
Okay.
the whole thing, by
That's
ourselves.
unfortunate, but
Yeah.
I'm sure Matt was there for you every
yeah.
step of the way.
He was. Like, my parents flew in from Mexico to
Okay.
be there, so they were cheering me on. They took pictures. It's so funny. And basically, it turned into a prolonged labor.
Okay.
So now the next day, they had a change shift for the midwives and nurses.
Okay, got it.
And the nurse was new. I remember this. And from a previous visit.
Oh.
So now they do another cervical exam. So now I'm
Oh.
on cervical exam number 2. And they're like, okay, you're like, 6, 7. We still have some way to go. Let's try to get her down because she wasn't coming down. And I was like, okay, cool. So we did all the exercises, everything you
Okay.
could think of.
The yoga ball.
Yoga ball,
Walking.
the walking, it's called a mile circuit.
Okay.
So I'll
What's
show-
that? I don't know what that is.
Yes.
You want to show us? No.
Yeah, I know. Like, let me put my leg up on a yoga ball. Somebody get the yoga ball.
Okay. Yes. I mean, I've obviously read and seen videos, but obviously until you're there, you're like, okay.
Exactly, yeah. So the mile circuit is basically, you could start doing it before labor as well to kind of help get baby down into your pelvic area. But it's a 3-step exercise.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of like lunges. Like if you could go up the stairs sideways
Okay.
and skipping
Oh,
to a
yes.
step. So that,
I
or
have
curb
seen
walking.
that. Yes, curb walking.
That's what a lot
That's a
of,
big one, right?
Yeah, so curb walking, and then literally it's like a yoga pose, but it's like the dog pose.
So let me ask you, did you do any exercising or any prepping before?
Oh yeah, I
Okay.
did. So after 37 weeks, you can start eating dates. That helps a lot.
Yes.
It helps soften your cervix
Okay.
for a smoother delivery. So you eat dates, raspberry, red leaf tea, red raspberry tea.
Okay.
And
I've seen that, but then at the same time, I'm like, does it even work?
It does. So it basically helps the baby come out in a smoother way.
Got
So
it.
all those things, I was like homemaking like chocolate covered dates,
Oh my
and then
God.
like all the raspberry tea you can think of. The yoga ball. There's little exercises you can do on that. Anything to like open up that area for
Got it.
baby to come down.
And just so you
I
know, I'm
was.
taking notes, Jazmin.
Yes, you're
'cause
like
this is
a
all going to happen in 3 months.
I was well, I'm 3 months postpartum, and you're
Due in 3
months.
months,
That
so-
is so exciting, and it's March.
And it's March.
It is the third.
I
month of the
know.
year. That is
Oh my
I
God,
love-
333.
Girl,
I
that is
can't.
the
Don't even get me
number,
thinking, because
girl.
whenever I think, whenever I'm like, I cannot believe I have 3 more months. It's like I feel like it's gone by so
Right.
fast.
It does.
But
It flies by.
I'm glad I have you here.
Yes.
I'm
no,
going to
yeah.
be taking notes. I'm going to be calling you.
And then we'll go on mom days.
Yes.
We'll learn together and do real
Exactly.
estate.
Exactly.
All in that. But
Talk
yeah.
real estate, huh?
Right.
And while we're with our strollers.
Exactly. With our little cafecito. But yeah, so.
So you started doing the
prolonged labor,
exercises.
yeah.
Did it help you?
It did. Like they just wanted her because they were like, she's not coming down.
Got it.
So they're like, we need to do more because my contractions, they were saying they weren't strong enough or something. Even though it did feel like it, I kind of felt like they weren't really listening. And this is where communication and listening is very important.
Yep.
My water breaks at 4 p.m. the next day, and they were still kind of like, oh, let's test it and make sure it's water. I'm like, it's literally water. It's gushing down, but go ahead.
What else can it be?
Exactly. So they did that, and then they're like, okay, that's a good sign. And they laid me down, and my mom was like, no te tienen que acostar. Like, you're not supposed to lay down. You're supposed to stay upright so the baby can come down. That's going to push the baby up.
Exactly.
So it started kind of like the energy just kept dropping. I was now getting nervous.
God.
And mindset is everything. So trying to keep that positive mindset was really hard in that environment.
I can't imagine.
Yeah,
Well,
and
you
then-
did, you know.
Yeah.
You just kept going. You just kept going.
Right. Because I'm just like, okay, my baby and I need to do this. So from there, it got really intense. They call it the transitional phase
Okay.
of labor.
Okay.
Because there's early, transitional, and like active.
Okay.
So now I was in the transition phase, and it was now 6 p.m. And
Jesus.
they, they checked me. They were coming every 2 minutes now, my contractions. And I wanted to do a water birth. From the beginning of time, I've always like daydreamed and fantasized
Of doing it that
my
way.
perfect birth. It was in the water because I love water. Like I'm a fish. Like I could just live in water all day. And I was a C-section birth
Okay.
with my mom, and I'm huge on prenatal trauma, and a lot of things happen from birth.
Yes.
Like it's insane. Like we're not gonna get too deep into that, but prenatal trauma is real.
Okay.
And I was huge on creating a safe environment for my baby to come into this world peacefully, swimming around, and they put me in the tub because now I was pushing already.
Okay.
So I was already like, your body literally just starts pushing the baby
And how
out.
many centimeters were you dilated at this point when they took you to the
they
water?
They didn't check me yet. They were going to do it after.
Okay.
Because I went into the water and I was pushing, but they monitor you.
Oh,
so they
okay.
have the Doppler at the birth center. It's not like at the hospital where they have it on you, but they still have their own monitoring devices.
The way they do it.
Exactly, yes. So they checked it every contraction when I was pushing, and baby's heart rate was usually at 150 beats per minute. When I pushed, it dropped to 50.
Wow. Can't imagine
So
the
they
feeling.
were kind of like, okay, we'll monitor the next one because they're like, a little bit is normal, but that's too low.
Like that's too much of a drop.
Exactly. So they did the next one, same 50, and I'm pushing now. Like now I'm actively pushing her out. They're like, okay, that's concerning. Let's bring you to the bed. Also, what my partner got really mad about was that the water was cold. It wasn't warm.
Oof.
So then I started getting feverish, and it's winter, it's the middle of winter, so it's freezing. They put me back on the bed. I'm like wet. And my mom was so mad. Like she intervened. She's like, they're not supposed to lay you down. You're pushing. And they're like, we're going to do a cervical check to see where you're at. So then they do
At
a
that
third
point is your
one.
third one. I was going to
Third
say,
one,
wow.
yeah. And they go in there and she's like, okay. She's like, you're like 8, 9. You can't push anymore. And I was like, what do you mean? I can't stop pushing. Like your body literally pushes. That's why, you know, I didn't want to do epidural because, again, nothing against women that get epidural. Like whether you do it or not, it's all like a beautiful birth story.
Of course.
And everybody's tolerance is different.
And everybody's is different.
And yeah, like, you know, plans change. You could say you don't and then you get it and vice versa.
Exactly.
But my whole reason for not doing it, my personal reason, was I want to feel everything to be able to get her out
and help
her.
Okay. So now, the fever.
The water, the fever. Okay. So I was in the water now because it was getting real and I was pushing, but the heart rate was dropping.
It was still dropping.
To 50 beats per minute. So they got worried and, you know, they asked me to go on the bed. My mom got so mad. She said, ¿Por qué la están acostando? You shouldn't be laying down. You need to push. Everybody's telling you to push. They were telling me to not push because they were worried about the heart rate dropping.
Okay.
So I'm laying down now, freezing, because I'm literally in an adult diaper, just naked.
Oh my God.
Literally exposed, freezing, and they tell me, like, okay, Jazmin, we're gonna have a change of plans. You have a fever, and baby is not coming down, and the heart rate is really worrying us. And they were partnered with Masonic Hospital, which is where I was born.
Oh, wow.
So I was kind of like, wow, that's crazy. So my worst case scenario started becoming real life. And worst case scenario, they always spoke about only 1% of people that give birth here get transferred to the hospital for emergency.
Oh, wow.
So, and I was a very low risk pregnancy because they're very adamant on checking your health to make sure you're low risk because they don't have the medical intervention tools they need.
Exactly.
So it was a beautiful pregnancy, like no nausea, no symptoms, just very tired, but it was such a beautiful pregnancy. And even the labor part was beautiful. Like I was in the water, I was, you know, in my flow of things. So then everything just went very fast. Called the ambulance. Paramedics walk in, I'm still naked.
Oh, Jesus.
They just throw a robe over me, I'm still wet. It's freezing out because it's middle December. And they throw me on the stretcher, they insert an IV, and they're asking me if, like, you know, previous medical history, and I'm just kind of like blacked out, zoning out, like just talking to God and still trying to keep my positive mindset.
That's
even
awesome
though I
that you still you were going through all of this, but you still kind of focused on the positivity.
Exactly, right. And it was the hardest thing of my life, was just like trying to rewire my brain to, it's okay, like, God, I trust you. I know everything is happening for a reason. I don't know what it is. Like, damn, I'm a little sad, but it's okay. And I kind of blacked out, like, in the middle of all that. Yeah.
Okay.
So I just, as they're rolling me out on the stretcher to the ambulance, my parents are just on the side watching.
Oh my
I'm their
God.
baby.
I
I'm
can't
the
imagine
youngest.
your parents.
Yeah. So, and I couldn't even tell them anything because I was like in a state of shock. My partner was just there. I just heard him very muffled, like, I'll take your parents with me, because they couldn't go in the ambulance with me. My mom wanted to, but it was only, I think the midwife had to go with me. So I'm in the stretcher.
Adding to everything you're going through.
Exactly, yeah. So I'm still pushing because your body naturally pushes baby out. In the stretcher, like, throw me in the ambulance, and the ambulance is driving crazy because it's an emergency.
Yes.
So I'm like literally holding on for dear life while contracting,
Jazmin.
while pushing, and I'm like crying. And I was just still kind of like, it's okay. We get there, and this is my first time in a hospital ever, so all this was new to me. You know, they roll me in, and then they transfer me from the stretcher to the hospital bed. And there's like a medical staff of like 10, 15 people around me, and they were being very positive. Like, they're like, let's have us a baby. What's baby's name? Like, I see how they were like keeping me, you know, like grounded and happy. And I was like, wow, like, I love nurses so much.
I needed some positivity.
Exactly, yeah. So we get into the room, and the doctor comes in. They they kind of peek and they're like, they did another, exam to see where I was. I was 9 centimeters.
Okay.
And they're like, we have an epidural option, but it won't kick in because you're already so far along. So now they're like trying to insert a catheter because I couldn't lay down straight. I was on my side because I was just in so much pain. And that was to keep track of baby's heart rate. So they put it on her hair.
Okay.
And I was kind of nervous because I was like, I didn't want medical intervention. Is that safe? Is that going to affect anything? They're like, no, it's just to track the heartbeat. I was like, okay. So they did that. And I'm pushing again. And they're telling me, don't push. Whatever you do, I couldn't. I'm like, she's right there. I feel her. The whole time it felt like no one was listening. Like it felt like it was just me and my baby girl doing the whole thing. And I remember my sister always said, trust your body because your body knows what it's doing. God made us for this.
Exactly.
Literally to give life. So I push again and I will never forget. Like they were telling me, we might have to vacuum her out or do an emergency C-section because she pooped inside, like meconium, because when babies get stressed.
Yes, I've heard that.
And I did that in my mom, so that's why I was a C-section. So everything was just so similar from my baby to me. And I'm still kind of connecting the dots there. But, they were like, don't push. We're going to do this intervention. We're going to do a C-section. The doctor was about to leave, and I just start pushing again. And that push, it literally was like a clock.
Okay.
And her heart rate dropped down to 30 beats per minute.
Wow.
I blacked out and I just heard that and I thought about the C-section. My man, I didn't even hear him. He told me after. He started praying out loud.
He did?
He was like, my God,
Jesus.
no, please. I didn't even know that. And he was crying. And the midwife's like, don't, everything's going to be okay. Because in that moment, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to die or my baby's going to die. And I was like, I can't let that happen. I just pushed and I said, she's right there. One nurse out of all of the 10 that were there told a doctor, check. She says she's there. She checks and Matt was like, I see the head. Like her little hair was already out.
Oh my God.
And they were going to leave me there. So they're like, okay, never mind. We're having the baby now.
Thank God for that nurse.
Yes, I love her. Like I believe she was an angel literally because she was the one that helped me give birth basically. I pushed her out. Literally in 2 pushes, in less than 5 minutes, she was out.
She was out.
And it was her. She was fighting her way out, and then I was trusting her. So you're going to experience that as well. You're going to see you guys are a team.
Yes.
Because it's the same thing you're going through, she's going through as well. Because you guys are both working to get her out. Like she's literally going through a canal.
You're going to make me cry, Jazmin. It's just so much. And it's, I can't even imagine what you went through. Obviously, I'll be there in 3 months. But hearing your story, I feel I'm more knowledgeable now. Because you do hear things on the internet. You read things. You see videos. But you really don't know until you speak to someone that's gone through
experience.
And that's why I think it's so important, birth stories.
Oh, yeah.
Whether they be negative or positive. Everything is positive, right? But if people had a difficulty, I think it's important to hear what can happen, how you should be prepared, things like that. So I love having this conversation, right?
Thank you. And
it was long overdue.
Oh, yeah. And I love that we're connecting because like you said, after that, I did struggle. Like there are so many things you hear of postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety, baby blues. I had her in the middle of winter, so I used to struggle with depression. Like, a few years ago, I healed that through God, through therapy, and just years of hard work on your mental health. So I was really nervous about falling into that. I did experience a little bit of baby blues, but I did get postpartum anxiety, which I'll kind of talk about in that. But my point with sharing the story and, is spreading awareness. And I just want to help moms have the best experience if possible with my knowledge of what I know now, even for me in the future. But yeah, thank God, she came out, everything was good. She was beautiful, healthy baby. We did skin to skin. She came out of the womb eating, she literally was wanting to eat.
She's like, Mom, I need you. I'm starving after all of this.
Exactly. She's like, girl, that was a lot. Let's eat. We stayed there and I was kind of I kind of made peace with it, and I told my partner, I'm like, I feel like that happened. I'm always advocating on mental health and helping others, which is why I love real estate, because real estate helped me realize I love psychology and helping others, being of service to others. So I'm like, I believe that God put me through that to push me to spread awareness, because I'm already doing that in mental health, real estate. Now I could do that for mothers.
Yeah, it's just one more thing that you can.
Exactly. Like there's so many, tips and tricks to hope for a smoother delivery, and there's Western medicine, there's natural, there's holistic. So now I feel very well versed in that, like you said, to spread that awareness and kind of give moms a checklist, like make sure you're doing these little things, like they'll help you out. And
I know, and like you said, everything you're saying, I'm definitely taking notes. But also when it comes to real estate, you're balancing being a new mom,
right,
and then your business, your brand,
right,
real
100%.
estate, right. So it's kind of like you're trying to figure it out as you go.
Exactly.
So I'm over here 3 months before giving birth. So listening to you is gonna help. Helps me. Like I feel ready. I feel like knowledgeable, right?
I love that.
But hearing it from you, it's like becoming real.
Right.
Like sometimes I tell my partner, I can't believe I'm pregnant. I can't believe we're having a baby every day. And it's like, wow. So then now it's really sinking in and hearing what I'm going to go through or similar, right? I'm not having a natural birth, but just the cut.
That was
Do you think I'm nervous?
No, you're literally doing so good.
Because every time I try to like stiff up, I think
Just
about,
relax.
exactly. And like nobody's watching. It's just us.
Literally, it's just like act like that's not even, like we're literally just talking like.
But you're so natural.
Girl, so are you.
I feel like
when I was like that, you were grounding me.
Okay,
so I'm gonna do the same.
See, and I think that's why we need that, right? Because then
100%.
and then you get nervous. And it's like, okay,
girl, and mom brain is real. Like literally, te olvidas de todo.
Well, we said right, pregnancy brain. Like I forget so many things.
Yeah.
And I forget. Hey, did I? I say the question again. My partner's like, you already asked me this. I'm like,
right.
I know I asked you, but I don't remember the answer.
Can you please just tell me? Like, no, it's so real. But like you were saying, girl, you got me about
I know.
But you were saying you're like about the natural birth that you're planning for something different.
Exactly. I'm not doing that. I am in that natural birth. I would definitely, I've thought about it, but I don't think I'm there yet. So I am going to give birth at a hospital. Okay. So that's the plan.
Nice.
I don't plan on getting an epidural. I feel like I'm a very strong-minded person. Yes. And I think once I set my mind to something, I can do it.
Right.
There's not going to be an and, ifs, or buts about it. I know some people are like, oh, you're going to need it when you're there. But
tune all that noise
What
out.
did you just say? Mindset
is
everything.
And you have a strong mindset. And that's exactly what you need when you're going into that.
And that's the plan. And I know I can do it. I am a strong woman.
Yes.
I have a supportive partner. And that's the plan. And I'm sticking to it.
I love that.
Right? So let's report back in 3 months. But that's the plan. But obviously, not everything goes according to what you think.
Exactly.
And that's also like, right, your birth story, your birthing plan, but also in careers, right?
100%.
One of the main reasons I switched over, so I have a degree, a bachelor's degree in criminal justice and a minor in political science.
Awesome.
So when I graduated college, I went into social work. Nice. And I did that for a couple years. I left that, and then I went into the aviation industry.
Wow, girl!
Completely
what
different.
Don't you do?
I checked all trades. No, but so I jumped into the aviation industry, which I loved.
Yeah.
But then, again, I wanted a family down the line, not at that moment.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, what can
you
cut
wanted
that?
it down the line.
Yeah. So I wanted...
Not in that moment.
Exactly. So I thought about my future. I thought about my future goals, and I knew that starting a family was in my future. So I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to do a 9 to 5.
Right.
I don't want to have to request days off.
Exactly.
I don't want to have to request my vacation. I don't want to have to do all that. So that's when I started shadowing my mentor. Then I became his assistant and transaction coordinator for a couple years. But then I realized I wanted to do something for myself. I wanted to start up my own business. I wanted to start up my own brand, be my own boss. So that's when I did the jump to start studying, and I got my license. So that's going to give me the flexibility when I become a new mom. Well, it gives me flexibility now.
Right.
But down when I give birth and when she's growing,
Right.
I'm going to have the liberty to schedule my showings around her schooling, stuff like that, things you don't think about. But that's why I decided to become a real estate agent, just the flexibility,
Right.
the job
It gives you
security.
that freedom to work around baby's schedule
Yes.
and still have your business there.
Exactly, which is what you're doing right now.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Creating balance, finding a rhythm.
Right.
I learned this as well as first-time moms. People are so fast to like want a set routine, a strict schedule.
Yeah.
And I learned very quickly that that's not possible, at least when the baby's like under 1, because you need to give yourself a lot of grace. And there's this thing they say, don't call it a schedule, call it a rhythm.
Oh, okay.
Because, baby's gonna maybe sleep, maybe not sleep some nights, so you kind of have to figure out your flow. And that's kind of, what I did piggybacking off of that. Like, I am still almost 3 months postpartum, so I'm kind of figuring out balance. And that's why I love our brokerage, because we can come into the office if need be, but we can work from home. Like, I always joke around, like, we work from home, I would say like 70 to 80% from home.
Yes.
And then the rest is out and on the streets.
Exactly, on the streets.
On the streets of Chicago.
No, but it is true, and I like what you said. Don't call it a schedule, call it a rhythm.
Yes.
Because the baby's not going to be on a schedule.
Exactly. As much as we want it to,
exactly.
it's impossible.
So now you're at the point where it's like, okay, and how's that going? What are the struggles? What are the pros? What are the cons?
Can we put like a list here now?
Can we get a whiteboard?
A whiteboard, literally, like mom real estate life. So I would say like I was giving myself until 3 months. I was like, okay, I'm having her in December. Spring season is gonna start peaking once I'm ready to come out. So I kind of wanted to like plant my seeds while I was resting. And in Mexico, we do something called a cuarentena.
Yes.
Quarantine.
Yes, for 40 days.
You rest for 40 days.
Yes, that's what
Don't
I'm
leave
doing.
The house. So I did that, and we basically were just at home. It also helps out that it was winter. So we were literally hibernating, full on mama bear mode. But with PAK, they do trainings and coaching sessions and calls on a weekly basis. So I remember the day I gave birth, I was actively under contract for you. My attorney was calling me. I'm like on the bed, just gave birth. I'm like, hey, can I call you back tomorrow? I just gave birth. Everybody's like, Jazmin, please stop working. I'm like, okay. I literally did a showing like 2 days before I went into labor. So funny.
Oh my God.
And then I was like, okay, I'm going to give myself a little break.
Yes, and which is important.
Yes, exactly. Giving yourself grace is huge. And we, what was I going to say?
Okay,
balance. Yeah.
Balance about how PAK, like we can log in.
Yes. So, postpartum, I kind of was not actively working because I was just enjoying time with your baby.
But you were logging into the Zoom meetings.
I
saw you. Yes.
Hey.
Coaching calls, all of that. I mean, I saw you, and that's amazing, but that's also the convenience of having everything so virtual.
Right. Like, I literally had baby in one hand, my phone in the other, and I'm literally taking notes when I can, writing things down.
And that's the beautiful thing about being a real estate agent and also being part of like a brokerage where they appreciate that they give you time.
Exactly.
Jump on if you want.
Yeah.
Obviously it's the more you jump on, the better, because the more you learn, but sometimes it's not possible.
Exactly.
But it's so convenient, which I love.
And then seeing like everyone's wins. This is something we're huge on. Like, what are your wins?
Exactly.
And just hearing everyone else's wins it was keeping me going, because not gonna lie, like I was not okay for a while. Like, everybody was kind of like, Jazmin, where are you? I had like 100 unread messages. I wasn't responding to anyone. I wasn't really on my phone. Because after thinking I was going to lose my baby or my own life.
It had to be so traumatic.
I was like,
I can't.
Yes. I was just like, my baby and me, this little bubble, we're going to enjoy it.
We're just going to stay in here
Yeah,
forever.
Exactly. And, you know, I developed postpartum anxiety,
Okay.
which I've never struggled with anxiety before. I was very chill.
I was going to ask you, did you ever have anxiety before?
No, I didn't. I was always very chill as a cucumber.
Yeah,
like,
you
I was
definitely-
always like the grounding one. But with postpartum, with what happened, I developed health anxiety. So postpartum anxiety, health anxiety, I was recovering because you go to your 6-week appointment to make sure everything's, in Spanish you say cicatrizando. I don't know in English. Like it's healing the right way.
Exactly.
So, you know, they do that.
At
But
6 weeks.
It technically, I think your body doesn't fully heal until after 2 years.
That's what I read also.
Yeah. So it's like 6 weeks, cool, but I'm still healing, recovering. The hormone drop that happens after you give birth is, I think I read it's like taking like a crazy amount of like birth control pills and then just stopping the next day.
cold turkey.
Cold turkey.
Wow.
So that happened. I was so worried. I'm like, is she breathing right? Like any little thing, I'm like, oh my God, am I gonna die? Like I was having dark thoughts and, you know, kind of talked to my midwife about it, you know, with the postpartum visits, and they kind of told me therapy would help. So I'm actually going to start doing therapy
Good.
again.
That's
because
awesome.
when your baby's born, they say a mother is born as well.
Yes.
So I am a new
different
woman.
person.
Like
Yeah.
I'm still Jazmin, but it's a different version of me. Like
Okay.
now it's like Jazmin as a mom, as
What's your
a
next
real estate
chapter?
businesswoman.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
So it's just another hat that you're going to wear.
exactly. And on top of that, I'm so excited because, like you said, real estate, it's allowed me that flexibility to like kind of, I was just lead generating when I was with her, feeding her. I didn't really, as a woman,
Yes.
the baby's very dependent on you. And I'm exclusively breastfeeding. Like I didn't introduce a bottle until now
Okay.
because I have to step out and, you know, my
Exactly.
partner takes over. But it's very important as well. Contact skin to skin regulates their heart rhythm, their blood pressure. It has so many benefits. So I was just exclusively
Yes,
breastfeeding,
exactly.
and that is very demanding because
Every
every
2
time
to
you're
3
hungry,
hours, right?
bam.
Yeah.
Like I call her my chicle, my piece of gum, because she's always on me. And but she's
That's
also a very
amazing.
relaxed baby because
Okay.
of that. Like
Okay.
she's so happy and alert. So that's helped me a lot with working from home and lead generating from my phone whenever I can.
And that's what I was going to circle back to what you said about when you gave birth, you had your cuarentena.
Right.
So you weren't actively working. I don't know that song.
Girl, I'm gonna play it right now.
Play, can we get a DJ?
Right.
No, but what I was going to say is that you wanted to take some time off, right? You weren't
Exactly,
actively
yes.
working,
Right,
but you
yeah.
were lead generating.
Exactly.
So that, you know, I think about that, the job security.
100%.
At your, if you had a 9-to-5 corporate girly,
Right.
would they allow you that? I know you get a maternity leave, FMLA, but let's say you go
Right.
beyond 12 weeks and you're not
Exactly.
feeling okay and you don't want to
Right.
go back to work. You always think that, like, what's
Right.
going to happen to my job? Whereas in real
Exactly.
estate, it's your
Oh, yeah.
business, it's your brand.
Right.
If you want to take some time off, you can, and you could just lead generate,
yeah.
work on your social media, other
Right.
strategies, not necessarily work.
Right. And that's what I loved so much, because I was even thinking this on the way here. I'm like, I love real estate so much because of endless opportunities.
Endless
and then
opportunities.
it's almost like you can pick back up where you left
Yes,
off.
and you
can
can.
refresh, because there's a lot of
Exactly.
highs and lows in
Lots.
real estate. That's just the world. It feels like an island. So that's why I'm so glad that we have this community of
Yes.
like-minded people in the family aspect, because like now, right, I'm kind of jumping back in. You guys are welcoming me.
We're so happy to see you after 3 months.
And we're gonna do that with you when
Yes.
you know you give your birth to your baby.
know.
And it's been beautiful finding a balance, because now as a mom you do have to be more intentional with your time.
Yes.
You get like little windows where they literally, it's like you get up and the baby's like, all right, I'm gonna start crying. So you have like, I've noticed that like I'll put her down for a nap. I'm like, okay, I have 30 minutes to an hour. I wanna wash the dishes. I wanna go behind the computer for a second. I wanna go make phone calls. So you do have to kind of structure in a little schedule. Once baby is like past 2 months, that's kind of when it gets a little better.
Okay.
And you can kind of like incorporate a schedule. So like now I kind of realize, okay, she gets up around 9-10 in the morning,
Okay.
goes back down for a nap around 12 or 1, and then she'll sleep for like 3 hours. So I'm like, in those 3 hours, what can I do? And I always said, like, this year the theme is discipline and consistency. because sometimes
Love
I am
that.
tired where I just want to cuddle her, but I'm like, no, go drink a little bit of coffee. It's like my guilty pleasure, and I don't feed her right after when I do that. But I'll have some coffee, and then I lead generate. I reach out to people
And that-
every day. Like that's the one thing.
that you time block for.
Yes.
And what Noah tells us all the time, you know, time blocking is so
Exactly.
important. So
Right.
incorporating that into mom life is even more important.
yeah.
Because your time's so valuable.
Right.
Baby's time and then your partner's time.
Exactly.
So all that combines into
Right, more intentional
with
like,
your time.
work.
Exactly.
And it's like before I was kind of like, you know, like, oh, like a procrastinator. I'll do it tomorrow. But now
I just thought about
love
that.
it.
It's gonna
it's pushed me. And you'll see as well, like when you have the baby, it just gives you a different like hunger and motivation. Like I need to do this and succeed because for this little one, you know, and be an inspiration to her. Like we're strong
Exactly,
women.
yes.
We have our own business and they're going to be raised in this environment where
exactly.
we can be home. And I like, there's
Which is
nothing wrong
amazing.
with
I've always
corporate.
wanted that.
Yeah, exactly.
Always.
And you know, our corporate girlies, like they do go back to work after some time, and you know that's okay as well. Whether you want to work from home or go into the office, that's
your
all
choice.
personal
Yeah,
choices.
Of course.
But I always wanted to raise my baby myself. Like,
Yes.
you know, we grew up with babysitters. Like, I never wanted that. I always was like, I want to be the babysitter. I want to teach my baby
Yes.
everything. I even want to homeschool.
You do or you don't?
I do.
Oh my
yeah.
God.
Like, girl, it's the whole thing. Everybody's like, oh my God.
Well, that's, you know, what you said.
Mm-hmm.
When my mom, when she gave birth to my sister and I, she had to work.
Right.
So both my parents, you know, came from
yeah.
Mexico. I'm first generation American
Yes.
as well as my sister Denise. So my mom did work.
Right.
And I never felt like my mom wasn't there. My mom was always
Right.
a wonderful mom. My dad
yeah.
was a wonderful dad. I couldn't have asked for better parents, honestly. And I hope I can be that for my baby girl and my partner
Yes,
too.
you will.
But one thing I did always have in the back of my mind is when I do become a mother,
Right.
I do want to raise a child myself with my partner. I want to be home for that. You know, I'm not going to do daycare.
Same.
I don't want them with a babysitter. So being in real estate does give us that luxury.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Which is amazing, is which I always wanted. So
And it's very possible. Like I'm living it now, and I'm like, wow, like just so much gratitude. Like I always tell my partner, I'm
Yes.
like, I am so thankful that, you know, we're in this career where I can work from home, nurture my baby, nurture my business,
And still
at the
make
same
money.
time. And still make money and show her, you know, she doesn't have to be a realtor, but you know, she wants to one day.
She has options.
This is what it is like.
Exactly.
And like you said, being first generation, you know, Americans. What is it?
we're first generation Mexican
I was like-
Americans.
I'm like, hold on, Puerto Rican. ¿Qué soy? Ya se me
Well, I was
olvidó.
thinking, no, it is, you know, showing them that we're first generation American. We came from
exactly.
Mexican immigrant
Immigrants,
parents, and they built a great life, and we want to continue that, and we want to show our girls the
Exactly.
same thing.
Oh, yeah.
And I also said, with Matt, I know he's such a supportive partner to
Yes,
you.
it's very important.
That's the number
Yes.
one. I've always said I couldn't do what I do without my partner because he's so supportive. Anything I do, any ideas, anything I bounce back with him.
I love that.
He's very supportive, and I know in the next chapter of mom life,
Right.
we're just gonna make it work.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and that's what we're talking about, the whole mom work life balance.
Yes.
It's just it all starts with a foundation.
Exactly.
You need to have a good solid foundation, good solid partner, family,
Support system.
I know. Even though my sister's in California,
Mine
she's
is
always
too.
no, because I did remember that.
It's
Ladies,
okay, girl,
come
I'm
back.
here. We're here. We're here now. You see that?
I know, and I
love that.
do miss, you know, but she's always checking up on me and my mom too. So it's we're a foundation,
Right.
with your close family,
Oh yeah.
and then also your partner. And I think
Exactly.
that makes work-life balance
It
easier, and
does.
we're very lucky and fortunate to
Oh
do
yeah.
that, right?
I agree. And that's why like I'm just so thankful because it just becomes your life. Like
Yes.
real estate is your life. And
Yes.
so is being a mom.
And so
it
is being a
just-
partner.
Yeah, and having the partner, it's your village.
Yes,
Like everything
exactly.
just comes together. Like at first I was worried, and now I'm like, okay, she's a little older now. I gave myself grace. I rested, which is needed. But now I'm like, it's spring season. It's heating up. Like, here you go, babe. Here's the botella. Like, we're getting back out
I'll be
there.
back.
And when she's big enough, like I do want to like wear her and take her on showings with me
Of
and kind
course.
of show her the world through my lens.
But I mean, how amazing is that you can bring your baby out with you?
Exactly. Like she'll be running around here very soon.
Oh, yes.
Everyone will see her.
We need her to come to the office.
Both of them.
And then
Both
we
of
can
them.
have some lunch at Gibson's.
Exactly.
Right?
Literally.
Mommy dates.
Yeah, we need that balance.
can't wait.
Balance. So, yeah, just super excited, thankful,
And that's why now you're telling, so now you gave birth, obviously, December, so you're 3 months in, and then you're
Yes.
just figuring out how to do the mom work balance.
Exactly.
And I'll be there in 3 months, so hearing all this feedback from you, I know it's possible if you're just
is.
organized. I'm a planner.
I love
Okay,
that. That's
I
gonna be
plan
perfect.
everything. But obviously as you plan, not everything goes accordingly, which is okay.
Right.
But time blocking is very important.
Yes.
Not a schedule, but a rhythm.
Exactly.
And as you get older, you adapt. So
to each change, because it's what I've realized, it's just like different seasons of life.
Okay.
And adapting to every change that each different season brings.
And adapt, right? You have to
Yes.
adapt because not everything's going to be as you plan,
I
which is
agree.
fine. But also with real estate, like I said, gives you the
Right.
flexibility to adjust because real estate is adjusting. There's highs.
It's always like
There's lows, curveball here,
Right.
curveball there.
Exactly.
So we already know how to adjust.
they
So,
go hand in hand, motherhood and real estate.
so I'm so excited.
Yes, I'm so excited for you, and
Thank you.
We'll be back here
Yes.
once you're postpartum, and then we'll have a different conversation.
And then I'll tell you my story.
Yes.
With God's help, hopefully everything
Exactly.
goes well. So
It is.
the baby's due June 10th.
Ooh,
So we're gonna have to do a recap.
we are. And
I'm
we
so
will.
excited.
Yes, I'm so excited as well.
No way.
Shout out to Noah,
Fragoso.
the NF team,
Right? Best broker ever.
PAK Realty.
Best broker ever.
Literally.
No, Noe, I've
Yeah.
known him. I've known Noe since high
I
school.
remember, that's amazing.
So we met in high school. He's a year older than me, and we were together in French class. With
Oh my gosh.
Miss Nordmeyer was our French teacher, and that's how I've known him. And then he graduated first, and then I did, and then he did his thing, and I did my thing, and then when I started with my mentor, I didn't realize Noe was also in real estate.
Wow.
So then he left, and then he started PAK Realty. And then when I had a conversation with him to join, obviously it was a no-brainer.
Right.
It took me 2 seconds to say yes.
Same. I
you
was like,
know?
what, sign me up. Where do I sign up?
Right here. No, so yes, him and Stacy are great people.
They're amazing.
So caring, it makes you feel like you're family, right?
Exactly.
So this being so, like we just started here in Illinois over a year ago. And then I was telling Maria that we're in Florida now.
Girl, yes. And
So-
I've always, Florida is the reason that I got inspired to get my license.
No way.
Because my sister in California,
Yes.
10 years ago, we took a sister's trip
To Florida.
to Florida. We stayed at her friend's house, and I will never forget, she was working on her table. And she's like, give me a second, I'm going to work from it. And I was like, what do you do that you work from your table? Because this was 10 years ago.
I was
She
gonna
was
say.
like, I'm a realtor, honey. And I was like, wow. I was like, tell me more. And she moved there from Chicago.
Okay.
Because she focused on a Latino community.
Oh, that's amazing.
And that was just more her niche. And she's like, that's when I was kind of like in, college, figuring it out. And she's like, you should look into it. You would be great for it. And I was like, oh. So she kind of planted the seed.
That's awesome.
And we're in state of reciprocity. So I was always
Yes.
like, damn, it would be easy.
Exactly.
To just do it. So,
then
we're worldwide.
And we're also in California,
Yes,
Arkansas,
Vegas,
Texas.
Colorado.
There's like 9 states now, so we're
Yes.
growing. So just when we had the conversation, Noe was telling me, the history behind it, and I was like, it's a no-brainer. Like,
Right.
I want to be part of something new,
Yes.
something exciting, something different. Not the
Innovative.
same, innovative.
Yeah.
So obviously it was a no-brainer to me
I agree.
to join. So yeah, and here we are a couple months, not even a year later. So,
Right.
just trying to work on myself, my brand, my business.
Yes.
And now trying to be a mom.
Queen.
I still can't even believe it. So I'm so excited for the next chapter of my life. And this is, you started your next chapter.
Yes, the
So
beginning.
I'm so happy to have shared like all the stories. And I have so many more
agree.
questions. I'm going to be
Oh, yeah.
Jazmin and Jazmin.
Yes, and I will be here. Like I would literally want to make checklists for
Yes.
you and any future first-time moms that are kind of like where I was, like Googling everything or worrying about everything. Worst case scenario, it helps so much, like from someone having experience
Yes.
to be there for others and
Exactly,
help
and then
them out.
hopefully, you know, some moms that are out there that do want to make a career change.
Right.
You
can do it.
You can make a career change whenever you want.
It's
like I
never too
said,
late.
exactly. I graduated, got my bachelor's, went to social work / criminal justice area. Then I transferred to the aviation industry, and I dabbled back into the criminal justice industry again.
Because you kind of like
You know, and then now you can, you know, I'm in real estate, so anybody can do it.
right.
Out of college, few years into, you know, having graduated, you can make that change.
Oh, yeah.
Because real estate is such a flexible
I agree.
industry. So hopefully
There's no time limit. There's no age limit.
There's nothing.
I always said it's building your own business on your terms.
And the potential is
Endless.
endless.
Yeah.
So all of that just kind of plays into why I'm here and why you're here, kind of like, and now we're moms. Or we're going to be moms, and you're a mom. So.
And I know, you know, when we talked about this, like, we really want to, like, if we can empower any mamas out there that want to make a career change.
And it's never too late. You can do it anytime you want. The flexibility of being a real estate agent is perfect.
Yes.
PAK is great.
Yeah, like, it's just a win-win all around. So
reach
don't
out.
hesitate to reach out to us.
Definitely, Jazmin. So you said your Instagram is
Yes,
Jazzy.
Jazzy B Healing. And what is yours?
Mine's very simple. Anabel Real Estate.
Beautiful. I love
So
it.
find us there. Follow us on Instagram.
Yes, give us a follow.
And
Hope
then you also
enjoyed
have your
this.
YouTube channel.
I do, yes. We can add everything down below so
Perfect.
that everyone can find us.
Yes.
But it was great talking with you.
You
and
too,
sharing your
Jazmin.
stories.
You're amazing.
So are you.
You're going to be an amazing mom.
You are an amazing mom. We all are. I'm just so much love everywhere.
And so much more to talk about. So
Oh yeah, it's not over. We'll be back.
It's definitely not over.
Different topics every week.
Yes. Log back in, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yay. I think that
Well,
was
all
so
right,
good.
everyone. We wanted to just say goodbye. Like,
Oh yeah. So we're going to do the outro.
I
so.
always do peace and love. Like,
Okay.
like, peace
we
and
can
love.
do that. Okay.
Yeah.
So should we just say
Toodaloo.
adios?
There's this guy called Nardwar on YouTube. Do you guys know who he is?
No.
I'll show you. He's very awkward. He always ends it like toodaloo. No, it's like toodaloo, toot.
Oh my God! I don't.
I'm
like,
literally
I've never
about
heard
to do
of
that.
him.
He's like, copyright. I'm gonna get. No, I'm just kidding.
We're gonna get a what is it?
What do you,
That letter-
Oh, real estate.
Yeah.
Lawsuits. No, I'm just
Right?
kidding.
No, we don't want none of that. So how should we end it?
All right, we're like, all right, guys, peace and love. I don't know.
Oh, let's tie back
Adios.
mom life and real estate. So
Yeah.
thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening to us.
Yeah.
We hope this impacted you wherever you are.
Impacted you, yeah.
Ooh,
love that.
Impact you.
Yeah, I know.
PAK.
I know.
You were wondering.
So
Dad joke. Yeah.
Jazmin.
Yeah.
So thank you all. No, that sounds too formal.
We just want to thank everyone. We could
definitely
cut it
do.
from where we ended and then merge this in. So,
Exactly.
you know, we hope this impacted you wherever
Definitely.
you are.
Any moms out there, any future
Women,
moms
yeah.
that want to do that career change before
Yeah.
you start a family, I hope all of this was impactful.
We're here for any questions you may have. and
Yes.
We look forward to speaking with you.
Yes, and we can't wait for our next
Conversation
about mom life.
Exact real
And-
estate
and-
updates because real estate is constantly changing.
Yes.
So
So
we
we're
will
looking
be back.
forward to that, and we will be back.
We just want to spread peace and love.
Yes, to everyone out there, thank you for listening. We truly appreciate
Yes.
everyone. Everyone.
Okay. I don't know what it is.
Adios.
Bye.